Hello, Inner Tree members. I've got Dove Priestess Marguerite Rigoglioso here, and we wanted to take some time to discuss the Alta Major Chakra this evening. We actually got together last week, and it came up in conversation. We ended up doing some channeling around it and felt like it was really important to share this information with you. And so if you're not aware of what the Alta Major Chakra is, it's called a minor chakra, although both Marguerite and I agree it's not minor in the least bit. And it's right here at the base of your head, at the back of your neck. Now, in certain Asian traditions, they call it the mouth of the goddess. And the reason for that is because it's kind of a direct plug-in into divine information, particularly the feminine divine. And I discovered my Alta Major Chakra within the last couple of years, although in reality, I discovered it years and years ago. I just didn't know it had a name. So we'll talk about this as we kind of do maybe a little bit of intuitive channeling here. So Marguerite, did you want to add anything to that?
Well, you know, this has come up in my Priestess of the Dove Oracle training, and you're really the one who brought it to my attention in a big way. I remember years ago, Amareya Dreamseed was doing something where we had a ritual and he was looking at it, but I never looked at it again until you then started bringing it up. I think when I was doing my Divine Birth, Divine Self Mystery teachings in that class, and you started talking, you were getting a lot of transmissions about it. And so I realized that it was something that needed to be added in and given attention to the Oracle training, because we focus on the major chakras, but I was never taught to look at that one. And given what we're finding out about the importance of it, as well as some other things that we can discuss, I started realizing, wow, okay, I think this has been a little bit veiled from us. And students have been asking questions. I had one of my level 3 students, Nicola Delonzo, who's just done a transmission on it. I haven't looked at it yet. So we're going to do ours, and then I'll look at hers and see what she said. But it feels like the Alta Major is on the scene now.
Yeah, that will be really interesting. I'll enjoy watching that too.
And I think my Oracle students will really enjoy this, whatever is going to come through here. I started looking, as I said, a few minutes before, and I was already starting to get some information. And in other days, I was starting to get information about it. So we can chat. We can do our Oracle transmission.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about how I came upon this and sort of the synchronicities that went along with it. And then my realization that actually this chakra had opened up for me years ago. So I just found out about the chakra itself within the last year or so, but really it's been working in me for quite a bit longer than that. And so what happened, you know, I'm getting ready to publish my book, The Inner Tree, which is about intuition and all the things that kind of get in the way of us being able to use our intuition and interpret it. And that book is called The Inner Tree. And I like to go on to Gaia TV and poke around and look at interviews and watch different shows. And it just so happened that Regina Meredith was interviewing a woman by the name of Tiffany Varsati. And it caught my interest because she was talking about the reticular activating system, which is also right at the base of the neck, as being sort of the seat or the switch for a consciousness. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. I want to look at this. And as she was talking, she started to talk about the Alta Major Chakra, and that really that the reticular activating system there, our awareness, our consciousness, our switch for breathing, and the Alta Major were all related, and that the Alta Major Chakra actually connects in all the way down to our roots, as well as to our third eye and our crown. And so I got really interested in looking up this Alta Major Chakra because it just, as I was listening to her, the hairs on my arms were starting to rise a little bit. I was getting that sense of it.
I bet the hairs on the back of your neck started.
The tingling, yes.
Which is the Alta Major Chakra activation, apparently. When they talk about the hairs in the back of your neck standing up, I was reading, oh, that's your Alta Major Chakra transmission indicator.
Yeah, yeah. So I went out and I poked around in Google, and the thing that really raised the hairs on the back of my neck was I read a piece from another writer who was talking about the Alta Major, and she called it the inner tree. And I'm like, oh my God, this is too much of a synchronicity. This is really important for me to pay attention to. And so I did more research. I found the quote about the mouth of the goddess and how this chakra is seen as a direct channel from the divine feminine, how it relates to our inner tree, our inner universe, you might call that also. And so I started just meditating on this, and it took me back to this moment way back. It must be, I don't know, 15 years maybe, when I was working with a mystic, and in one of the sessions we were doing incubating. So we were laying on the ground incubating, which is where you just let go and surrender to the moment, to gravity, to your inner world, to going deep within. And I went really deep in this meditation. And during the whole meditation, it's like my breathing was almost barely there. And that was not a problem. I was so still. During the whole period of this meditation, I went really, really deep. And after the meditation was over and they kind of rang the bell for us to start to come back, I moved ever so slightly, and I got this electric shock in that part of my neck. And then every single spine all the way down my back just went right into line. And it was after that when I really started to deepen into the meditation and going into my inner world and really becoming present in the moment and working deeply towards that. And so now that coming back around, sometimes we don't find out things until later. Intuition doesn't always work perfectly in the moment. Sometimes it's an evolution. We may not know what something means until years later. And so with this information about the Alta Major Chakra coming up, I realized, oh, I've been using this chakra all along. And, I have been struggling with this idea of using the crown chakra because it always felt to me like my intuitive knowing, my channeling came from a different place, that I sensed that it came from my roots and worked its way up. That actually the channel for the Alta Major is to come in through here, go down, and can work its way up through your chakra system. And that's how it works for me. And so I was just really totally gratified to find this information, because finally, like, the workings of my intuition totally made sense to me, whereas before I felt like I was always comparing myself to this crown thing that I felt like was never really going on for me. There was something else happening, but something that I could deeply trust. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of my story around how it opened up and then how I discovered it later.
Yeah. Well, I am already getting some insights as you're talking, and what I wanted to, I can offer some things that I have already gotten about this to start us rolling.
Yes,
and then we'll go more deeply into the oracle space. So what I received is that This is precisely the chakra that is how the negative energies hook into us to create the suffering matrix. And that is exactly what the movie The Matrix is pointing out, which I have heard from reputable people. That movie The Matrix is the best representation of esoteric reality around. So basically look at whatever they're saying and pretty much it's happening. Yeah. And so all of our Alta Major chakras are plugged up with a cord from the squid of the matrix. And that's how we're being like literally controlled, like puppets, you know, from there. And so it is important to do a decording of your Alta Major chakra and immediately put gold light there and kind of do a major healing, you know, to work it back into its natural state. You might want to just close it a little bit for a while. There's things you can, Maura, you were telling me the other night that you can put various essential oils like vetiver and things back there. I've seen juniper recommended. But so I just did a removal of a cord from there, which I thought I had done before, but I realized I never really fully did it. And I just did it a little while before our talk. And what was I seeing? Like this whole bulbous thing. And I was like, holy crap, there's implants in there.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow.
And I just saw the whole thing coming off from wherever else it was and just going up to the sun. And I was like, oh my God, you know, but we could be walking around like a little disoriented after that, because like with Neo, once it's taken out, then you can start seeing things that are a little unsettling.
Yes.
And some people would rather have it in, you know what I mean? Like business as usual. But the other thing that I started getting was that this is why they've cut men's hair. This is why they have created the fashion of men removing their hair and exposing their Alta Major chakra, because there's something about the hair that's protective of that chakra. And no wonder I've wanted to grow my hair long, like obsessively, you know. And when you shear your head, you expose your Alta Major chakra to all sorts of influences, physical and psychic. And that's one way they've really gotten men to go into the matrix, and they've disconnected them from the mouth of the goddess, from the goddess energy. So all these things go together. And as you were talking, another thing was coming to me. We'll have to go in again and look at it. But so those were just some initial insights and then remedies and actions for people to take around their Alta Major chakra to clear it and awaken it, because apparently it's in a triangular formation with the third eye, pineal gland, in the center of the head and the crown. So there's a kind of an isosceles triangle that gets formed in your head that circulates around them. And what I'm seeing is that right now I'm being shown that the major way we're taught how to be psychic is an Atlantean system that only focuses on the chakras in the major plane of the spine, and it ignores that one because that's like a Lemurian chakra. Okay, that's the one that goddess people and witches and so forth can more easily access, which is also why they would have hung the witches. Yeah. Because they would snap that Alta Major chakra right there, and it would end a trauma to numerous lifetimes for the woman. And I have numerous women, I've just been thinking it was just their throat chakra that is at issue. now I'm realizing, oh my gosh, it's their Alta Major that's compromised. I mean, I'm just receiving this just as we're here talking. So it's their Alta Major that's compromised. So I'm going to have to do these healings with both of these things, because the Alta Major and the throat are intimately involved as well. And just what I'm getting is that the Alta Major Chakra, it's more of an indigenous chakra to the human being. It was an original chakra when we were creatures of Gaia, before all of the genetic manipulations came in, that made us more focused on the rectilinear chakras and ignoring that one. But that's why you, Maura, would be more connected with it, because you're more of an ancient one that was connected with the fairies and the fae. And so that's why that feels more natural to you. Now, I've had other lives where I've participated or seen or witnessed the whole Atlantean thing that went down. So when I started receiving the teachings from the 7, quote, major chakras, I was able to receive it easily and make it work for me.
Yeah.
While also not falling prey to some of the negative aspects that line of chakras can be used for. And the crown, so what they've done is they've plugged up the Alta Major Chakra totally with the matrix, and implants and things like that. But then they use the crown for other things, like the spirit possession, the removing of people get their crowns removed, and so they're really vulnerable to spirit possession.
Yes.
And they can't stay in their bodies. And I have to do a lot of crown repair for people in my oracle training, because they're like, I'm out of my body, or I'm woozy, you know. And I'm like, holy crap, you know, you've got blanked out crown chakra. So now I'm really seeing that the Alta Major is to the goddess, and Lemuria, what the crown chakra is to Atlantis. And
I want to add to this too, because I'm also like, now all of a sudden, stuff is coming in, and so I think that really there's a big way that women as the oracle have been shut down, because if you think about the relationship of where this chakra is in the body, and you understand even a little bit about the physiology of that area of the body, this is where our switch for consciousness is. So think about that. If consciousness is plugged up, then we literally cannot know and see. And it's also the place where our on-off switch for sleeping is. So, you know, when we go into sleep and we go into those other dream worlds, that's an Alta Major thing as well. But its relationship to the body and awareness in the body, I think, is so critical to women, because we've carried the weight of the body without any positive sense of how that's related to the spiritual. In the West, spirituality has been primarily a transcendent, try to get out of the body thing. And so that's put women in a bad position, because we are so often embodied, and we're being told that being embodied is sinful. It's not spiritual. It's you know, that it's not the higher planes of spirituality or consciousness and knowing. And this is a way of us reclaiming that.
It is. And you know what I'm also seeing is that, you know, that Janus figure where it's the head, two sides, the head is on two sides. It's one head, two faces, you know, on either side. Just think, the Alta Major is exactly behind the mouth.
Yes.
It's the other mouth. And so that's what that Janus figure of the two heads, one is talking to. This is like our shadow or other dimensional head, our other dimensional face. And it's behind our head And it's so vulnerable because it's like I need eyes in the back of my head, right? That phraseology.
Yes.
That's referring to something about the vulnerability of the back of the head, because we've like lost the ability to see behind our head and to be able to protect in the inner planes and protect the Alta Major Chakra. So it's like, oh my gosh, they've just plugged in and that's it with the matrix. And April, who's on, says, when I sit in silence after running energy, I often plug my Alta Major into the planet Sirius, where the Sisterhood of the Rose is from. I get an immediate surge of blessed energy when I do this. Okay. You know, people will have to decide, do you want to plug it into something or not? You'll really have to use your discernment about that, because like anything, there's many things that places and beings that want to plug into us. So yeah, you know, just use your discernment. Okay.
Yeah, I want to bring in something else that this kind of came up in our conversation the other night, sort of on a separate issue, but you know, we were talking about like the yin way of being and moving from the heart. And so I would encourage people to, when you're deciding to plug into something or explore something, to really explore that also from your heart space, to explore it from a sense of, is this expanding love or not? And that'll also help you like gain a sense of safety around what you're doing, because if it's coming from a space of love and it's moving towards the expansion of that, then that's going to be safer than when it doesn't feel right that way.
Yes, that's a really good thing to go by initially, at least. And then sometimes even that we have to be careful, because, you know, there's ways in which beings can make it look like love, and but you know, you can't get too crazy until higher levels of refinement with this work, you know, because you don't want to just shut down your intuition altogether because of fear.
No, exactly.
You have some level of discernment that you're comfortable with right then, and then just know that as you grow as the intuitive and the oracle, there'll be other layers of discernment that will come in.
Yes, yes. And I'm speaking of also, you know, this is why it's so important to be in tune with the emotion in the body. So love coming from your own heart space, exploring what does that joy feeling, think of a safe moment of love in your life and explore the physical experience of that feeling and allow that to be a guide, because the body will always take us to safety if we allow it to do its work.
Yeah, absolutely. So as we're talking, I mean, I'm realizing I'm putting awareness on the back of my head and the Alta Major Chakra at the base of the skull. I mean, it's astounding to me. Holy cow, how vulnerable that area has been. I saw online a woman recommends wearing a scarf all the time. Yeah. And you know, I've got my hair, but, and the turtleneck and things like that. All right. So shall we just go in and look more, and let me just see if there's anybody else has written. Okay. April is saying, I actually plug into Divine Creator and Sirius at the same time. Too much feels good at the time. Good. Okay. I would say plugging into Divine Creator or Goddess Sophia is very good. You know, Source Creator, Mother Divine, Holy Womb Chakra. Okay. Shall we look further?
Yeah.
All right. And so we welcome questions from April or anyone as we're doing this. But meanwhile, we're just going to look ourselves to see what's coming up. I'm just really getting a strong hit from Lemuria, Hawaii. The indigenous women of the earth, once closer to the original form of humans on the earth, are saying, yes, this is an important place, that Alta Major Chakra, for returning to Gaia, returning your consciousness to Gaia.
Yes.
Because it's not, like you were saying earlier, that it's rooted in the earth. It's not coming from the astral light source. The information can come directly from Gaia through the Alta Major Chakra. Weren't you saying that it was connected to the root chakra, or to the earth?
It is connected to the root chakra, and but it's also connected, like you were saying, with that triangle on the crown. And you know, there was that sort of, I had sort of a reverse Kundalini happen from the chakra down, and then allowing that, it didn't happen instantly, but you know, this sense that the oracular, the knowing, the intuition was filtering up from my roots.
Yeah.
But it was going down through my root and up,
yeah,
into the higher chakras here.
Because it's like it's a regulator between the earth and the cosmos for the human. And in that regard, it's also related to the heart.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I mean, I never knew how important this was. And it just seemed like a whim that we were going to talk about this today. But also Nicola tuned in and she was like, what should I do my 10-minute video on? And she got the Alta Major Chakra too. So clearly, you know, once it gets in with one person, it starts getting in. We all start getting the hit on this. So it is very connected to the earth. It's making me wonder if the oracles at Delphi originally were very strongly connected with the Alta Major Chakra. And then later, you know, with Apollo, it was something else. It was like a solar principle.
Yeah, and actually in my experience too, because I'm a priestess of, or devotee of silence, she's like the womb, the matrix of creation, and Sophia, silence, in the same lineage, the same thing. My sense is that when I'm really deeply connected in and channeling through my Alta Major Chakra, that I'm channeling from my connection to her, to silence.
Well, and that's really interesting, because when I did go online just for a few minutes and I looked at something, I had told the class that when I was in the school where I had learned psychic skills, and they taught us to just be for 5 minutes. And when I would do that in class, one time I had this profound experience and the words breath of God came to me. And I was like, what is that? You know? And it was just, I'm filled with this. What did they say? They online, I just found out 15, 20 minutes ago, they said the Alta Major Chakra is considered the breath of God.
Yes. Yes.
So I was like, oh my gosh. So again, here all these puzzle piece synchronicities are coming together.
Yeah. Well, so I've also been exploring, and I don't have an answer to this yet. Sometimes, you know, the way that my intuition works is to allow the information to sort of evolve. It evolves over time, and then all of a sudden the knowing comes in. And so I've been exploring the inner sound, what I'm calling the inner sound. And you know, this is the sound. If you become totally present in the moment and you allow your hearing to be open to the entire soundscape, and you find that still point in your center, what you'll begin to notice is that there's an inner sound that's occurring all the time. And it has, I've discovered now, you know, it's kind of a buzzing. There's many different traditions that talk about this as everything from, you know, the word of God to the music of the spheres, many different words that are used to describe this. And I'm curious if you're picking up on anything about the relationship between the Alta Major and that holy sacred sound.
Absolutely. Because it's the ears that are right there.
Yeah.
Ears, throat, mouth, and Alta Major Chakra. And that sound you're describing is the drone.
Yes.
And it's the Om.
Mm-hmm.
It's the eternal hum. And what I got is that this is why they're creating drones with that sound, because they want to confuse everybody and scramble them and make them afraid of the sound of the drone, when in fact, that sound is the sound of the beehive, the bull roar, the bagpipes, the sirens, the instruments, the vina, the instruments that connect us with that universal life sound and allow us to connect. So now they're going to frighten us, disconnect us, replace it with an artificial drone. And so that's a major oracle piece coming in today from this, what's happening here, to warn everybody about this drone business.
Yeah.
Sound, and how they've even picked the name that represents the male bee. And the male bee has nothing to do with it. The male bee is only in the hive for a very short period of time. It's the females that create that drone that's the sustaining life force sound energy for the queen.
Yes.
Okay, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm noticing what's happening in my body as we're having this oracular conversation, and there's a lot going on. You know, I can feel it from my root all the way up, just this kind of like vibrational energy, which is always the thing that comes in. That's my signal for pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. This is important.
Yeah. When I'm connecting with this Alta Major, I mean, I'm very much feeling the Neanderthals or the original humans.
Yes.
So it was an original human chakra made of from Gaia when she created the initial human beings before the genetic tampering and experimentations. And it was her way of communicating with the humans.
So this is bringing tears to me because that like is totally resonating and such a source of sadness for me, because, you know, I felt for so long that I don't belong in this world the way that it is. I know that there's a better way of being, and this is it, being that connected to the planet, connected to our body, connected to spirit, which has been so broken over the last several thousand years of patriarchy. And it just brings up such grief for me because I feel it. I'm missing that. That's what I'm longing for.
Yes, and many people. And I'm feeling the Fae now, the fairies, they're saying, we will work with you strongly through the Alta Major Chakra. Okay, well, that was an important piece before I'm going to embark on this whole connection with the Fae, right? This summer and fall, right? So, and the dragon, they're saying that the dragon can come up your spine, and There's something about those things with the serpent that would be over the head
Mm-hmm.
in the Hindu, but there's something about the dragon being at the back of your head
Mm-hmm.
as a protector. There, that meme, I've got your back, okay, is
Yeah.
related to this chakra.
Yeah.
And so you can call in the dragon to literally have your back and be guarding your own Alta Major Chakra.
Yes.
And facing outward to spook away anything that's trying to come into it.
Very important.
Including that matrix cord, which is going to try to wend its way back in.
Yeah, so speaking on the protection, the scarf, the hair, as you're saying, I use doTERRA oils. And so On Guard is also a really great oil to protect the Alta Major Chakra. So it's, it's a defense oil basically, and defending both for immune system, but also it's psychic protection.
Yeah.
That and the vetiver piece is more of an oil to encourage the use of the Alta Major Chakra.
Okay.
And aligning with it.
Okay.
Yeah, so finding ways to protect that area, when you're out and about in your life, and using whatever other methods you use for protection, the surrounding with golden light, or
Yes.
I use a pillar of white light. That one works for me. So whatever you've got going on for your protection,
Yeah.
use that and add it in with the Alta Major.
Great. And you know what's coming in? They're saying, so what does the world look like without the matrix plug? It can get a little freaky if you start seeing. And the fairies are saying, see us. Put your focus if you're on us, because we're there on that, interdimensional plane as much as any of those other spooky or scary things. So just focus on working with us, and we can help you through it. We can help the earth plane through this, and you humans are helping us as well, because you are sort of our jailers right now and our captors with the way you're treating nature.
Yes.
So we're dependent on you, and you can get a lot and be dependent on us if you want. So
yeah, so what's coming in for me now is just also the recognition that when we're children, we're not so like weighted with the habit of our life and all of our experience. Children approach particularly nature with that sense of childlike awe. When you're in that awe state, then that's also opening for the Alta Major. And so being out in nature is one beautiful way. And just even noticing the intricacy of a flower or a shell, like really open yourself up to being in awe like a child again, exploring with that childlike state of wonder. That's looking at the fairies.
yes, it is. April was asking, does this chakra have a color, the Alta Major?
So I've read that it's pink, but I'm not. I think sometimes it's important to drop in and get our own sense of color. So I'm seeing multicolored actually.
Yeah. I think what I'm getting is it'll be different for each person.
Mm-hmm.
you know, for me, it's gold. You've seen pink, you're seeing multicolored. And I saw another woman said it was teal. I think this is one of the things where it's like, take your power and
Yes.
see each chakra as the color that it is to you. And that could probably apply to all the chakras. There's a woman in my level 2 class, Donnie Gonzalez, who really feels that the chakras are individual for each person, the colors. And that really got me started on that, because sometimes when I've seen it with clients, like I've seen different colors in, you know, in different chakras. And so, yeah, I think just it's for everybody to explore what is the color for you.
Yes. Yes. And I love that, because that's a way of moving deeper into relationship with your own sovereignty and inner power. And what's so critical to that is trust.
Yeah.
Trusting your own knowing, trusting your own senses. We've been so trained to look outside for expertise on everything. And I think part of the story of the chakras in general is they were brought into Western consciousness from the East. And some of the Eastern systems have up to 24 chakras, you know, and we talk about 7. This is typical Western way of like reducing everything down to what it thinks is most important.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. And clearly there are many more. And, you know, we're just working with the abbreviated version.
Exactly.
So, okay, good. Um, so do we want to maybe just conclude and see if there's anything else that wants to come?
Well, I decided to draw a card from the Fairy Oracle deck, which is the one that I work with and love, and which you also have now too. And what I got was She of the Cruach, which is really the cauldron. It's really the divine feminine. This is our divine feminine cauldron, which has the elixir. I mean, it's our cauldron, which has the elixir of the divine feminine coming directly into it. It's sourced from that. And that's what this card is telling me.
Wow.
I love it how they're just always so right on.
Yeah, the goddess chakra, right?
Yes.
Mouth of the goddess, breath of goddess. All right. What I'm getting is a final activity to breathe in the goddess from your Alta Major Chakra. So there's a way of breathing. There's some kind of practice there where you're breathing in.
Yes. And
Goddess energy from the Alta Major and sending it wherever in your body, the spine, the skull, and the whole, wherever you want to direct it.
yes. And I'm also getting that become aware of your awareness. So notice your awareness. We're often aware of everything else that's going on around us, but if you just pull that down and become aware of your awareness, it's mysterious, but it's also leading you.
Exactly.
It leads you.
So the Alta Major is that awareness of your awareness chakra par excellence, because it is the eye at the back of your head that sees you from behind, and that's you. Rather, whereas these eyes are looking that way, and the third eye is kind of like a roving disco ball, but often like looking from above.
Right.
And this one is like, hey, yeah, become aware of your awareness. So, all right, wow.
Yeah. So, wow. Thank you, Marguerite, for taking the time to do this with me. And, we've been sharing it on my Inner Tree page, which has just a few members, but please share with your priestesses. I think we've done some pretty powerful look at this here, and I'm so grateful for you coming on and doing this with me. So I honor you. Thank you.
Oh, and I honor you and thank you for thinking it up and inviting me. And I think this is a very valuable set of beautiful information to share with others. So I'm so glad that we've done this together, and it took two of us.
Yeah, I love that synergy.
An exponential squared, with the two of us. So
yeah, and people, please comment. This page is meant for an exploration into our inner tree, and you have valuable information to add to this too. Stories, senses that you're picking up if you've been listening now or later, and please share. And I think Marguerite will also probably be sharing over on her priestess page. So I'll be very interested in finding out what your priestesses have to say as well.
Me too. I want them to kind of run with this in their cosmic Q&A and see because it seems like clearly we're reconstructing something here.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, dear one.
Okay.
Well, we will sign off, say goodbye to everybody, and just thank you for watching and listening. Bye now.
Bye now.